Greetings! Another shark scale video. Now, today's movie is Atomic Shark. Not Toxic Shark, not Acid Shark, Atomic Shark, yes. I don't think this will be like Blinky the Three-Eyed Fish from Simpsons, but let's just get right into it.
I'll just they're watching 47 meters down.
So the plot of Atomic Shark is about this group of lifeguards who are just basically guarding a San Diego beach. They are just doing standard lifeguard stuff and playing with drones. Well, it seems pretty simple when all of a sudden this shark shows up, and this is not an ordinary shark. No, this shark has had some serious nuclear radiation to it akin to Godzilla from an old Cold War sub. And the shark, well, it's off to cause a rampage. The story in this movie is just pure sci-fi movie level just garbage. It has an absurd premise and just goes off the walls with it. Like, the shark is seriously emitting radiation to the point that boats are catching on fire and blowing up. It's just radiating the fish, and people are eating the fish, and they're just combusting. Like, it is an absolutely ridiculous premise, and the movie just cranks it up to 11 to see how crazy everything can get, to the point that the shark becomes maximum radiation levels, and it just becomes equivalent to a nuclear bomb. Like, it just totally goes to 11, and there are many parts of the movie that were just out of this world. Like, it doesn't take it that seriously, and there are a couple moments where the movie just realizes how ridiculous it is. There are many parts of comedy to the movie, and that I can really appreciate, as the movie could very easily take itself ultra seriously with a shark that literally emits radiation. But instead it just decides to make it absolutely ridiculous, and I can only like the movie more because of that. Stuff where, like, the fake Yelp reviews show up, or when the movie decides to go widescreen for some reason, all lead to some funny moments. With that in mind, I actually did like the plot, and I thought that some of the characters were pretty horrible throughout, but luckily those characters are all eaten up. Well, maybe not eaten up, maybe just combust. But the movie is good at making you hate a couple of these characters. There are sadly, though, a number of plot holes or just confusing parts to the movie, such as boats just straight up going the wrong way in one shot and then going the right way in the next one, and other little miscommunications. So, with a decent plot, how is the shark? The shark, it's not that great. It has a unique look to it, I will give it that. It definitely looks unique, and there's never been anything else like it when it comes to a shark. Like, it's literally on fire and radiating and just looks ridiculous. It's a shame that the animation in the shark itself looks so poor. The animation looks very old compared to when it came out. Like, it looked pretty outdated when it came out. Nowadays it just looks awful. The whole shark is CGI the entire time, and the CGI just looks incredibly outdated, and it's something you'd see in like a PS2 game. It moves really rigidly, and there's some shots where it's just really awkward. It doesn't flow in any kind of sense, and they don't even try to make it look natural or anywhere near natural, and some of the water effects that surround the shark are just as bad. Some things are better than others, I will say, but there are a couple scenes that the shark shows up where it just looks absolutely horrible. Like, this is just not passing on any level. It looks like a high school level. That is only a few scenes, but the shark really does look terrible. And again, it's really poor special effects, don't add to it at all. The worst one is definitely the fire. The fire in the movie did, like, it just looked terrible. Like, that the shark's radiating the fire that comes from there, the fire it shoots out, it's laughably horrible. Like, it's the most basic fire effect, copied and pasted over and over. It's terrible. It's truly terrible, to the point that it's just funny. The fire is easily the worst offender, I will say, and yeah, it's just like really bad, and there's almost on purpose with some of the visual glitches, and it's just as generic as it gets. It's bad. Some of the effects are very funny though, so that's good at least. Anyway, on to the kills in the movie, which are a mixed bag, honestly. There are some good ones and some bad ones. The good ones are the really unique ones that show up throughout the movie, such as people combusting, or something blowing up, or the shark doing something out of the norm to kill someone. And when the shark comes up onto the beach at one point, that's exactly what I needed. That's the good stuff. Those are good, but when it's just kind of a generic regular shark kill, I gotta say, these look really bad. Like, these are just unsatisfactory and all around bad. There's just nothing special here, and honestly nothing even to talk about. I mean, it looks very poor, and the other kills are much better, and luckily there's a lot more unique kills than the generic ones, so that's good at least. Anyway, on to something that's not exactly the best either, and that's the acting. The acting in this movie is not good. Like, it's not good at all. It totally sucks on almost every level. Some of the actors are just bad, while other ones just cannot act like at all. Like this wannabe influencer. Sure, she looks pretty hot, and even makes out with like a kid who's apparently suffocating and needs mouth to mouth, like in The Sandlot, but she can't act to save her life. Like, she just sucks. Some of the other characters, yeah, pretty horrible, and it just seemed like they were quite lifeless and not good at delivering their lines. Other actors are just basic, not able to really pull off a performance. Like, yeah, no, they're just horrible. Like, they're not absolutely horrible, but it's quite weak, especially in terms of dialogue. There are a couple parts that are meant to be funny, which is funny, but it doesn't excuse the entire movie, as usually those are just kind of quick scenes or even just a couple lines that are trying to be funny, not the whole movie, and it's like the acting sucks in the whole movie. The acting was just really mediocre as a whole, and kind of what you would expect for a movie like this. And so now on to the conclusion. Overall, Atomic Shark is, well, it's a fine movie. It has a lot of crazy moments. The premise is pretty crazy in there. And there's some really funny parts to it, but there's just some nonsensical parts, straight up plot holes, some character development that's just really poor, bad acting in general, and the shark looks very outdated, and I'd say it really drags this movie down to a level of mediocrity. I'd say it's at least aggressively mediocre, and there are a number of funny parts to it, and the mood itself is mostly lighthearted, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, so that's good. It's funny with the boys, or the girls, or if you're trans, or non-binary, or whatever, we include everybody on the shark scale here. But this isn't exactly a movie I'd recommend to everyone. If you liked what you saw, maybe, but that's a solid maybe. If not, don't even bother. The movie could have been a bit better, but it could have been so much worse. With that said, I give it a solid 3 out of 5 on the shark scale. It gets some things right, it gets some other things not so right. But regardless, it wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen. It wasn't the worst movie I've definitely even seen all summer, so that's definitely a good thing. And it's really easy to be confused with this movie and Toxic Shark. Toxic, Atomic, yeah, the Toxic's better. But I'll see you guys later. See ya.
Oh my god.
I think it's